जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जया गिरिवरधारी जया गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जया गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदनन्दना जय ब्रजजनरञ्जना जय यशोदनन्दना जय ब्रजजनरञ्जना जय यमुनतिरवनाचारि जय कुञ्जबिहारी जय यमुनतिरवनाचारि जय कुञ्जबिहारी जय यमुना तिरवनाचारि जय कुञ्जबिहारी जय यमुनतिरवनाचारि जय कुञ्जबिहारी जय राधा माधव कुञ्जबिहारी जय राधा माधव कुञ्जबिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद फिर प्रभुपाद की जय गौर भक्त वृंद की जय Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for coming. Good morning, Bhagavatam class. So today we're doing Canto 3, Chapter 11, Texts 9 through 13. And let's see which one we'll recite here. Okay, we'll recite text 9. So please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Badarshartha Palonmanam Chaturangulai Svarnamashai kritachidram yavat prashtha jalaplutam Padashardha palonmanam chaturbhischaturanguলাই Svarnamasai kritachidram yavat prashtha jalaplutam Dvadarsha Artha 6. Pala of the scale of weight. Unmanam measuring pot. Chaturbhi by weight of 4. Chatu angulai 4 fingers by measure. Svarna of gold. Mashai of the weight. Krita chidram making a hole. Yavat as long as. Prastha measuring 1. Prashtha. Jala Plutam, filled by water. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. 1 second here, just move this up. The measuring pot for 1 nadika or danda can be prepared with a 6 pala weight, 14-ounce pot of copper, in which a hole is bored with a gold probe weighing 4 masha and measuring 4 fingers long. When the pot is placed on water, the time before the water overflows in the pot is called 1 danda. Wow. Once again, the measuring pot for 1 nadika or danda can be prepared with a 6 pala weight, 14-ounce pot of copper, in which a hole is bored with a gold probe weighing 4 masha. The probe has to weigh 4 masha and measuring 4 fingers long. When the pot is placed on water, the time before the water overflows in the pot is called 1 danda. Purport. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It is advised herein that the bore in the copper measuring pot must be made with a probe weighing not more than 4 masha and measuring not longer than 4 fingers. This regulates the diameter of the hole. The pot is submerged in water, and the overflooding time is called a danda. This is another way of measuring the duration of a danda, just as time is measured by sand in a glass. It appears that in the days of Vedic civilization, there was no dearth of knowledge in physics, chemistry, or higher mathematics. Measurements were calculated in different ways, as simply as could be done. Next verse. Yamaschatvaraschatvaro mardyanam ahani ubhe pakshapanchadashahani shukla krishnascha manada. It is calculated that there are 4 praharas, which are also called yamas, in the day and 4 in the night of a human being. Similarly, 15 days and nights are a fortnight, and there are 2 fortnights, white and black, in a month. Tayo samuchayo masa pitrinam tadharnisham dvautavritusshad ayanam dakshinam chotaram divi. The aggregate of 2 fortnights is 1 month, and that period is one complete day and night for the Pita planets. 2 of such months comprise one season, and 6 months comprise one complete movement of the sun from south to north. Okay, I think we end here. Okay. No more. Okay. Ayane chahani prahur atsaro dvadasha smrita samvatsara shatam nrinam paramayur nirupitam. 2 solar movements make one day and night of the demigods. That combination of day and night is one complete calendar year for the human being. The human being has a duration of life of 100 years. Graharkshatara chakra sta paramanvadina jagat samvatsaravasanena paryityani misho vibhu. Influential stars, planets, luminaries, and atoms all over the universe are rotating in their respective orbits under the direction of the Supreme, represented by eternal Kala. Purport. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the sun is the eye of the Supreme, and it rotates in its particular orbit of time. Similarly, beginning from the sun down to the atom, all bodies are under the influence of the Kala Chakra, or the orbit of eternal time, and each of them has a scheduled orbital time of 1 Samvatsara. Om Jnanam Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadhati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitangsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. So Hare Krishna everyone, welcome. And uh, these verses may explain to you why we had an especially long Jai Radha Madhav at the beginning of class today, because there's I don't have much realization to speak much on these topics, but I was just thinking again, what is the need of these topics? We say Srimad Bhagavatam is Amala Purana, Nigama Kalpatoror, Galitam Phalam, Vibhata Bhagavata Rasalayam Alayam. that it is the only thing that the Bhagavatam is, it's a storehouse of nectar. Rasam alayam. It's like the house of rasa, of mellow, of nectar. And it's the ripened fruit of all Vedic knowledge. It is the essence of everything. So how is it that we have verses like these that describe how to measure time? And why would the Bhagavatam put these verses in? And I was remembering that actually this scientific knowledge is very important in connection with Krishna. It's very important. One time a man came to the table and he wanted the Srimad Bhagavatam. He knew it as the Bhagavata. And well, he didn't exactly want it. I was, we were going through it. Like I was showing him the volumes of the Bhagavatam. And I mentioned how in this canto, the measurement of the time is there. Measurement of time is there. How to measure time, atomic time. And he was very interested, like he was hearing. And then after explaining, I mentioned, how everything is in the Bhagavatam. Even science is there in the Bhagavatam. And this measures time. And then after that, then he realized that this was a multi-volume set. It's 12 cantos, 18 books. So when he heard that it's a multi-volume set, he didn't want to take it. He was like hesitant to take it. And so then, as we do normally, I offered him a different book. I said, well, then just take like the Krishna book. And this has all the stories of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna inside of it. And this is the ultimate knowledge. This is the highest thing. It describes the spiritual world. It describes who God is. So really everything is here in the Krishna book. And so I said, just take this one. And they said, no, because he said, I wanted to know about the measurement of the time that you had mentioned. I wanted that book that only measured the time, that described how time is measured in the Vedas, and that has that science part in it. And he was something like a chemist himself, like he was a physicist, chemist, something like this. So he was very insistent that he wanted that book, but he didn't want to take the whole set. He just wanted that volume. So I said, but I can't break the set. I can't give you just one volume from this because who's going to take the other 11? We can't break the set. And so I was then again tried to convince him for the Gita or different books. We said, no, I want that science one. I want the science book. So eventually we came to a compromise that he would give less of a donation, but he would take all the books. He would take the Bhagavatam set. And so he took it, and he was very happy, and he was like really saying he was going to home and read it. So it was very interesting because then I realized that, people actually want this scientific knowledge. They need this scientific knowledge. This is their pathway to Krishna, because the other books have spiritual knowledge, but he wasn't interested in the spiritual knowledge. Like, we talked about how, you can overcome death and we're all going to die, and how this will make us eternal, help us understand that we are eternal. And those things wasn't concerning him. He wanted the science book. So people are interested in this world. And secondly, particularly time, because time is such a powerful force that you could say overcomes our life. Actually, the only problem that we have is the problem of time. Because if we had unlimited time, no matter how much anyone ruined our life, we could always make it up. We feel angry towards others. We feel resentful towards others. We feel angry about a situation because we lost the time, and now we can't make that time up. So actually, like Prabhupada says, the only problem we have is this problem of time, temporality, of death. We have limited time. So, therefore, going back to the spiritual world and understanding, realizing Krishna and our eternal life, or just understanding that we're eternal, solves most of our problems, because then we're not afraid that we lost time. Of course, a devotee will still be afraid of wasting time, because we have only so much time in this life, and next life, who knows where we'll be. We have only so much time to worship and serve Krishna. So one of the qualities of a devotee on the level of bhava is avyartha kalatvam. They don't want to waste a moment. They don't want to waste even a moment of their time. And you see this quality in the great devotees. It's just like, whatever it is, life is so short, I don't want to waste my time. I want to serve Krishna. When I was serving my Guru Maharaj, there's many mistakes that we did as his assistants. And, one time, I dropped his Shaligram Shila on the floor. Another time, I lost one of his things. Another time we forgot his luggage. Like every type of mistake you can make, and then, it's complete, you feel so disastrous, like, what happens. But the one biggest mistake, the one that we avoided at all costs, was wasting his time. Like, we did something due to which he was stuck somewhere, and he lost half an hour of his time. Like, his time was not utilized, because everything else was fine. He would accept it, but that was something he wouldn't. We would get some chastisement. That was not acceptable, because of that eagerness of not wasting time. We should always be concerned that, am I engaged always in Krishna service? Am I wasting time? This doesn't mean that a devotee doesn't relax, but we have to relax. Even when we relax, we're relaxing by being absorbed in Krishna consciousness. We relax by reading Krishna conscious books, or chanting, music, spending time with devotees, eating Krishna prasadam, watching a Krishna conscious film. So these, even in our relaxation, in sort of the time off that we need, we must utilize that time with Krishna, to be with Krishna. So people are really disturbed about this factor of time. It scares them. When you don't have this spiritual knowledge, it scares them that, what's this time? And they recognize it. I had a colleague who was a philosophy professor at my previous university, at University of Evansville. And he was a philosophy professor. He would teach Introduction to Philosophy. And he told me that on the first day of his class, the first lecture, he tells the students, he says, we all have only 5,000 weeks to live. And that's if you live 100 years. Most of us don't live 100 years. But he said, if you live 100 years, we have 5,000 weeks to live. That's up to you how you're going to spend each of those 5,000 weeks. Amazing, isn't it? And he's not a devotee, or he doesn't even really believe in God. He was, agnostic or atheist, but still he recognized that I have only 5,000 weeks to live. And he was probably a 60-year-old man. So he said, well, 3,000 are gone. I have about 2,000 left. I probably won't make it till 100. So I have 1,000 weeks left. Now it's up to me. We say, oh, well, I'm on vacation. So we just started vacation season. I'll just spend this week, walking around the house. Well, 1 week is gone. So you have 1,000 weeks. It's up to us how we're going to utilize those weeks, those days. So, Bhagavatam is addressing in detail, in depth, what is this time? Because this time is controlling all of us. It's the axle, the wheel around which all of us are revolving. It's the ultimate deciding factor. Hitler, Putin, Napoleon, everyone had to surrender to time. They didn't have to surrender to anyone else, but they had to surrender to time. When their time came, no one may be able to kill Putin or destroy his regime or whatnot, but cancer or some disease, that the greatest warriors, the greatest, soldiers, the armies cannot stand up to him. All the politicians, he outsmarted them. But then his own body, that he cannot control. And that is time. That is time. So we have so many things to do in this world. But if we can understand this time and the nature of time, and we can be sure to use every moment in Krishna's service, then very quickly we can come to this platform of Avyartha Kalapa, the platform of Bhava. Then because I was just reading, Prabhupada was saying in one passage that a person who is actually, yeah, I actually even have it here. A person who is 100% engaged in Krishna's service 24 hours a day, that person is liberated. That person is liberated. Now, Prabhupada, there's so many qualities of a devotee. He didn't say, well, if that person is, has this quality or has read these books or has this realization. He was saying if we're 24 hours engaged, we're already liberated. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean that we are liberated, but what it means is that if all your time is utilized in Krishna's service, then there's no other space for Maya. Now, if we're not Krishna conscious fully, then we'll stop using our time in Krishna's service. But until we are continuously engaged in Krishna's service, we are liberated because there's no more time to do anything else. So again, Krishna, that's why he says Kalosmi, I am time in the Bhagavad Gita, because if time, it becomes a pathway for us to reach Krishna, and therefore it is a form of Krishna. Because if we didn't have time, we could not advance in spiritual life. We could not serve Krishna. And because we have time, therefore we can serve Krishna. So we all have the same amount of time. Everyone has the same amount of time. It's how we utilize the time. And if people say they don't have time for spiritual life, then that means that they're not wanting to become Krishna conscious. Because they have the time, everyone has the same time, but they don't want to utilize that time in Krishna service. So I'll stop here. It's 8 o'clock, and see if there's any comments or questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my obeisances.
Thank you, Prabhuji. The 5,000 week analogy, not analogy, it's actual. That's a wake-up call. And, yeah, you're completely right. How we use it in the proper way. That's important. Thank you for that. And then, about the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not just time calculation. Preceding the time, we also see how creation happens. And in that, you can very clearly see Kepler's laws of motion. You can see the 3 gravitational laws. You can see even thermodynamics, and you can also see relativity. All of that we can see. And it's just, we reread those particular verses. Those principles are enshrined direct. And if somebody cannot say, like for example, the golden egg or Hiranyagarbha, it just stayed dormant for 1,000 years until the Lord glanced upon. The Lord glanced upon it, then it starts separating out and doing things. So just want to say that. But yeah, Prabhuji, it's for somebody like me, it attracts a lot. Thank you for bringing it out, Prabhuji.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. And as you were speaking, I just was reflecting that how this is why Prabhupada said that this is why sharing this spiritual knowledge with others is so important, because like time is running away and they're like on this, like you could say this boat that's taking them deeper and deeper in the middle of the ocean. Like time is just swooping us down. Actually, the name of this universe, of this world, is samsara. And samsara comes from the root srij. Srij means to flow, like a river flows down a mountain. It's like a current. Like if any of you have gone up in the Himalayas near Gangotri or anywhere up in the mountains and you see the river coming down the mountain, it comes with such force. No one bathes in the river up there because if you actually bathe in the river, even if you put your feet in, you'll get swept into the river. If you threw a car inside of it, you wouldn't notice it. It's so vast, so powerful, and so fast. So, that's samsara means the current. So people are in this current, and they're just being dragged by time, and see that their life is going away. It's like a losing game, and they're trying to figure out what to do. What's the solution? And by giving them this knowledge of time, we actually help them so much because then they can realize, wow, okay, this is how time is working. This is what this thing is called time that just swoops me down.
Yeah, Prabhuji, thank you for your insights.
And like you're saying, these descriptions are so attractive,
Yeah,
it brings the world into perspective. Like, this is a wheel, we're all like ants on this wheel, we get crushed. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Phil.
yeah. So actually, that discussion you had with that Prabhu, whoever wanted that particular book, it reminds me, like about 25, 26 years ago, I was in Minnesota. I was not so inclined, religiously or even piously or spiritually. But
Mm,
I would go to one of my friend's house, and he
mm.
had this Bhagavatam set. Now I realize it is ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam set. I would pick up these particular cantos and read through them without realizing whose it is, what it is, why it is, all of that, nothing.
Wow.
Just that attraction every time. And I never thought that I would come into ISKCON or anything like that, and 10 years later I come back and I'm sucked into this movement. So it's exactly what happened to me. That's why it relates so much to me. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing that. It's amazing, actually. Because that person was at the table, he was asking, and now you are mentioning from the other point of view. Once a person has become a devotee, then looking back and seeing, wow, that was what attracted me. Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's like because Prabhupada does see that certain sections of the Bhagavatam are more dear to the devotees than other sections. Like, for example, the details about, time and all these things. This is not something maybe at the time of death that a devotee will say, please recite this section. But they'll say, no, recite the section of Bhishma Dev's prayers or Queen Kunti's prayers. So there are sections that are more, you could say, directly, even more directly discussing bhakti, devotional service, and other sections which are more describing the greatness of the Lord. It's all perfect, but like within perfect, there's more perfect, right? So there are sections that are more dear to a devotee. And so as once we're practicing devotees, these sections seem like, well, what's the need? Why? But there is a need even for us, but also when looking back, we think, oh no, that's what was attracting me at that time, or this is what is attracting others, and this is how they are connecting with Krishna. Yes.
Yeah, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other comment?
Hare
Question?
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. So, I mean, when initially, I mean, many of us might have said same thing. I mean, right? So I don't have time. So it's
Yes.
like, I mean, when we hear that, I mean, it's actually, I mean, as you rightly said, everyone has the same time, right? 24 hours a day. There are many people, I mean, even socially, right? So, many people who are very busy, but still they're practicing devotional service, spending, I mean, good amount of time in their daily sadhana. So when we know those things, I mean, yeah, we are nowhere. So it is like, I mean, because only thing I'm not managing my time properly. So yeah, so it's
Yeah.
very,
Managing our time, and it's our decision where we put the time, right? So we don't have time, that's our fault we don't have time, or it's our decision
that's true.
that yeah, isn't it?
and also how I mean, of course, the time is the one thing that nobody can buy with any amount of money. I mean, we're
Yes.
talking about the example of Maharaj not wasting. I mean his time. I mean, he'll be okay with anything else, but not with
Yes.
wasting his time. So because that is the most expensive thing, right?
Mm.
So
Yes. Actually, that's a good way to see it. That's the most expensive, like you know.
thinking from
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. That's such a nice comment, such a nice point. Um, you even see like these very big CEOs, presidents, politicians. Everyone needs personal time, time that they just waste in order to like be psychologically stable, like in order to just function in society. A few hours a day, they're just checking their phone or chit-chatting with their friends, even if they're super busy and they give like Bill Gates, he would, I think he's retired now, he would give a 6-minute meetings. If someone wants to meet with him, they would have 6 minutes. They're so busy, they would like line up all their things every single minute of their day. But then once they're off that, they're super busy, right? So you think, well, then they'd eat their food in 6 minutes and they talk to their family in 12 minutes and they, no, even they have to take a few hours off. So it's really what we want to do in that few hours off. You're saying that few hours off, we can be, like in Maya, or we can be absorbed in Krishna. And that's our choice. So everyone has that time, no matter how busy they are, the time that they use to rejuvenate themselves. So devotees, we utilize it in chanting, because sometimes we think that, I have to spend 2 hours in chanting. I cannot compete with the materialists, because I have 4 hours sadhana basically, right? 2 hours and then Mangalati reading, and then you have to do some, saying like 3 to 4 hours every day. Our time goes in sadhana, but the other students or professionals or whatnot, they have that 4 hour chunk. Well, not really, because they have to spend 4 hours doing something also in order to stay stable. They'll just watch TV for an hour, or they'll, hang out at a restaurant or get drunk at night. But everyone needs the recuperation time. And we have just chosen to use that recuperation time to recuperate in the real way through our chanting and reading and those things. Okay, it's 8:10. Let's stop here. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for joining. Srimad Bhagavatam
I
ki.
think Balram Prasad has a point.
Oh, sorry.
Balram Prasad was unmuted. Yeah.
Yeah, but he left now. I'm sorry, he left. Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Right.
Hare Krishna.